voucher.
I see. Yes, thank you all.
Yeah.
How you doing, Jeff?
Could be just a few seconds. Take my-
Watch the last meeting on
Was it takes one right here? I didn't know. Takes one right here. It's a boss code.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I just want to say this.
The man's okay.
This one?
Yeah, table.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that was a.
If I do that, when I go to show the presentation, it will take the Zoom screen off.
Well, so it's move on.
Okay. Alright, so this goes into what? Okay, that's what I did last time, is pull that one up from the thing. So I can just do that when you get ready to go.
Gotta do.
All right.
You want to sit right there?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
How soon we're gonna do it, but I can do it that way that I did it last time.
Well, that's.
Just kind of blow everything up.
We'll move around. Then you look back.
Yeah, people.
Or was it a metaphor? I don't think it was. I'm hoping it was. Really. You know, I watched it so much.
Okay, folks, I'm gonna call to order the September 23rd meeting of the Woodstock Town Board. As it is our business meeting, first order is to stand and pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You had a quick announcement about the library.
Yes, I did. So just so that people know, let me make sure I get my facts straight here. The September 9th is going to be the library vote. So every year we vote for the library budget. Every year we vote for the library trustees. And this year we're also voting on the library bond. As you recall from a previous meeting here, the library is falling short about $300,000. There are things that they had to do that weren't originally anticipated. They do need another $300,000 to bring the library up to where it should be. So you'll get to vote on October 9th on the bond. And they did say, if I can find it quickly, but maybe not, that there's only the average annual tax increase would be $7.41 for taxpayers whose home is assessed at $425,000. So this bond, if your home is $425,000, will be about $7.41 more. And what I will say about the trustees is there are 5 trustees running. There are only 3 seats, and there's only 1 incumbent. So you'll be picking from 4 people who you'll need to learn about because they're not already on the board to see what they're doing. So it's the trustees vote, voting for 3, it is the budget vote, and it is the bond vote. It is at 10 Dixon Avenue. Whether they are open officially or not, they're hoping for a soft opening on October 6th, whether they are open or not. The budget vote on October 9th. will be at the library. If it can be inside, great. If not, it's gonna be in a tent outside,
On Dixon Avenue.
10 Dixon Avenue. So that is where you'll be hopefully voting. Have your voice be heard. Voting is always a good thing. Thank you.
And I just want to touch base for a minute. It's come to my attention, a few folks have questioned about a burn ban. So we do, when it gets dry like this, we do pay attention. I have periodic conversations with the fire chief. I also am in contact with Ulster County regarding the conditions as well as the DEC. Presently, the DEC rates our area as a low. It bounces back and forth, but the last 2 days it's been a low risk of fire. So we do pay attention, and if the need arises, it's something that we can enact pretty quickly. It's done through a declaration of a state of emergency, and then you put a burn ban in effect. So we are paying attention and watching if anybody was concerned about that. With that, I am going to turn the meeting over to our police task force. First, I just want to take a minute to thank Jeff, Bob, Nancy, Aaron, Greg, and Jackie. Thank you guys for and thank you all for an outstanding task. I know you have worked very hard at this, spent a lot of time, and your initial presentation I thought was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we are at this point. So Jeff, it's all yours.
I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation comes up. How was that?
How does the library vote?
Excuse me, oh, thank you for asking. Noon to 9. Library vote noon to 9, October 9th, 10 Dixon Avenue.
All right, some of this people have seen in the draft. We've added some things. We did get a very good response to the public survey. I'm going to go through a few slides here. The big thing is that we did take a look at the public input. We've got some samples of what that input was. The public input and survey will be on the website, but it will be sanitized so that anything that you can see that would be whether an email or whatever associated with that won't be there.
Okay.
So all the content will be there, but none of the actual emails and otherwise. So as we said before, we're a Reimagine task force. And the vision is for now and for the future that we put together. The purpose of the task force, and I think that from some of the emails that we received through the email address, I'm going to go right to the bottom here. The purpose is not to address the current issues. The purpose is to address the issues and what they were. We took the historical view of it, and the plan that we have moving forward would address those issues, so those issues would not be issues in the future. So we're going to provide a template for what we think the department could be, review the issues history, and we did that. With the current department, provide a plan that, if instituted, would address issues and concerns through a forward-looking vision. The people that are on it, myself, Nancy Allen, Greg Vandenbogart, Bob Nuzzo, Anula Cordis, Corey Schmidt, Aaron Moran, and Jackie Early. And as you can see from that, all of us are members of the town, been here forever, and have various roles within the town that we've served. So we know the town pretty well. I think Greg and I may take the cake as being the more multi-generational. I think we're like around 4 or 5 generations here.
Oh, yeah, 40 or 50.
And what was the process the task force took? The process was really, we have weekly meetings. We researched similar local departments. We did some web research on broader police agency policy. We did police activity analysis of our own department, reviewed police models, different models used throughout the country. And we had a diverse group of members, so it came at it from multiple angles. We met with outside experts, whether they be HR experts, police experts, dispatch experts, and then we gathered the public information through the survey. The vision statement that we came out with, and this is a vision statement for the task force, potentially could be adopted by the department, but that's something that would be the role of the police chief. But the Woodstock Police Department strives to foster a safe, fair, and transparent environment by incorporating community policing, excuse me, and mental health awareness into all aspects of its operation and working towards solving the problems that create crime through a partnership with the community and the department. So this is really community policing that we're looking at. And contrary to what you read in the New York Post and the New York Times and that type of thing, of these epidemic issues with police departments, we are a community police department, and you'll see from some of the comments from the survey, the townspeople and the constituents of the board see that. So I'm going to show you a few slides of the results from the survey. The first one was, how safe do you feel in your neighborhood? We had 159 respondents, which is quite a few more than I had anticipated in a not so highly solicited endeavor. It was and we did reach out, and we used the email addresses that were provided with the voter registration. So we did reach out, we did have it announced, and we did have it on the town website. But if you can see, the majority of folks out there do feel safe in their neighborhoods. How often do you see patrols? It's very funny that people don't actually see the patrols. For the most part, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm the chairman of the Board of Fire Commissioners, and if police or people aren't complaining about the fire department, that's a good thing. If they're not seeing a lot of fire trucks, that's also a good thing.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you don't have like a key of what 1 equals 2, 3, 4, 5. So do you know what
5 is the
is?
most positive, that would be all the time. 1 would be never. And that's, all of them are graded in that respect. And then, do you feel comfortable approaching or talking to the Woodstock police officers? As you can see, the majority of people are very comfortable speaking with them. And then this is where we start to get into some of the comments.
I'm sorry, I can't see that. Is blue, so blue, just say blue is this,
Yeah.
red is that.
Blue would be very comfortable.
Thank you.
Red is somewhat comfortable. Green is
No.
no. And they're not comfortable with it. And the small purple would be never had the opportunity.
And it's harder to see when it's black and white. but when-
They don't have that. Just as
Both
long
times
as
do. At home, see this?
Pardon me?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yes.
See.
Yes, that's Zoom.
Maybe questions at the end?
Yeah, we'll get to those.
Sorry, I was waiting to this end.
And then the first question that we actually got free form answers to is, how important is it for the police to engage in community outreach activities such as neighborhood watch meetings and community events? I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but the first one is really interesting. It's important that the town people get to know, and this is quotes, so it's not my grammar, it's the grammar that came in. Years ago, I suggested an event where town people could meet the police in an informal setting. It was called Coffee with Cops. I also think some of our police should be walking around town so people can get to know them. Instead of their cars, they could walk or ride bikes. And as you see, some of our recommendations are having police walking around, having police the bike patrol. With each of these different things comes some requirements. You have to be trained to do that. You have to be able to have the appropriate equipment for the bikes. While we have a room full of bikes, none of them are to current spec. You go from somebody who has that, it would be a good idea to get to know and build the trust if we were more involved in the community. It's extremely important to create a community. Some people didn't think it was that important, and their comments were like semi-important. And then some level of, some level of involvement could be positive. And again, this will all be on the website along with the entire, these are only some picked out. But the entire survey will be there. Sometimes there's some misinformation. I would not be very interested in that because modern policing does not properly prepare officers for things like outreach. So I believe that most people would feel more comfortable in most situations without a police presence. I would have to disagree in the research that we did. Outreach is a very important part of police training, and it's something that we are looking at getting additional training to come in, because the community is who we serve. Having that communication with the community is vital, and as you'll see in the overall plan, it's a very big part of it. And then I'll just read the last one. I believe it's important for the police departments to have a social aspect in their job that allows them to communicate openly with the community. Therefore, it is vital that they attend neighborhood watch meetings and community events to make civilians comfortable with their presence. So, I mean, all in all, there were some very good and very positive comments about what can be done in relation to that. How would you rate the overall quality of police service? Well, if the middle is 3, and very positive would be 5, and very negative would be 1. Overall, the police are rated quite high. When you take a look at it, it gives you a, 89% rating that is in the positive range, with 51 and 54 being very positive, and the next level, which I think is more positive. How important is it for the police department to collaborate with residents, organizations, and leaders to address Woodstock's issue? As you can see, 104 out of 159 felt that that was paramount. And again, we addressed that in why we feel that there should be the communication out there. How would you rate the overall quality of police service in Woodstock? Once again, it's, same question and just a little bit different tack, but again, very much towards the positive and not so negative. This is the one that we really kind of hit home on. And it had to do with communication and transparency. If you see, the communication and transparency seems to be very, very important to the people that responded to the survey. And we have a communication plan in the overall plan that is also very, very important, that it's transparent and that it is communicated well. We don't have a tremendous amount of communication at this point. One of my favorites, I'm not sure about the communication. I don't normally talk with them. Well, communication is a two-way street, so we have to look at that as well. I feel like there is a disconnect between the department perhaps speaking to leadership, and that translates out to our citizens. I would love for 360-degree communication so that the police and the community feel collaborative, supported, and what's best for the town as a whole. So, just a few more comments on that, because I think that that's very important, and that's highlighted in the presentations here and what you'll be able to see online. And then it's very interesting. The one that I thought was quite interesting is, I don't know why I'm asked about transparency of the residents. Most of the residents want transparency. So we do have people that don't really care, which is interesting. I haven't been aware of any police communication with residents other than when we call or approach. I have no firsthand experience in this topic to be able to answer. So most of them would like to see more. Some of them don't really know. How effective do you feel police department's current crime prevention efforts are in Woodstock? Once again, a little bit more towards the middle of the road, but pretty much all the answers tend to be on the very positive side of it. So the community in general does see a positive swing in what they see in crime prevention in the town. We had 92 respondents that put responses in the additional comments. The additional comments were totally freeform. If you wanted to make a comment at the end after you answered all the questions, you had the opportunity to put something in here, and I think the first one was fairly well thought of. This is a matter that should always be worked on and striving for better. For the most part, I feel that this is an issue that is presented throughout our country, and for good reason. Change needs to happen. However, from my outside of the town privilege stance, I don't really think Woodstock is burdened by a lot of what is wrong with the police force throughout the country. Simply sending out the survey and striving to be better is enough for me at the moment to feel happy about the community. So obviously this is not a full-time resident, but it is somebody who feels that, it's important to get the information and it's important to move forward, but we don't need to dismantle and redo the whole thing. We are generally a safe neighborhood, and police presence surely helps. Let's see. Again, I'm just popping through these. Drug use among our young people has always been a concern, and I would like to see more collaborative have a collaboration with the youth center. It would be good to have police involved in any local community planning efforts with family, local churches and relevant task force. And again, the task force has looked at having youth officers and being more involved in those aspects of the town. So let's go to what we saw, and this is the stack ranking of key areas. You see the arrow that goes up, and sometimes this takes a little explanation, but everything is built on a foundation. So we're starting with a vision statement, and then the first most important thing in the building of the foundation to the top is accreditation, followed by staff recruiting and retention, oversight and policy, the facilities, technology, community communications, and enhanced and additional training opportunities. So if you look at it as a pyramid, the ones on the bottom are actually the foundational ones that we wanted to make sure, if you have to cut anything out, it may have to be more towards the top, but you can't cut the foundation out of the building. So accreditation, there's 112 standards. 52 are administrative, personnel, mission, responsibilities, 12 are training, and 48 are operations. And maybe, Bob, if you just want to say something about how important accreditation is, and it was in the last task force as well.
It was one of the, I think, Bill, you remember that from the last task force. Accreditation is, as it says, 112 standards, reviewed by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. They're the ones who come in and review your standards. So what they are formalized policies and procedures for operations, for training, and for administration of the police department. They improve professionalism of the department, they improve the efficiency of the department, and they ensure that the department here is operating in conjunction with other law enforcement agencies in the area that are also accredited and also following similar standards. It also reduces the liability for the town. What's shocking is that majority of police departments, the majority of the small police departments in New York State are not accredited. But throughout Ulster County, majority of the departments in this county are. So it's been a big thing that I've been pushing, and I think I think they've been working towards it, and it's a step in the right direction to cover all the other things that the task force could not.
We just need that final push to get it done.
Yeah.
And again, accreditation, because of the processes and everything in it, will cure and give us a foundation to work forward. Staff recruit, retain. We are a full-time department. We feel we still should be a full-time department. Police resources throughout the county are thin. If you don't have your own town police force, you're at the mercy of whether there's a trooper in the area, whether there's a sheriff in the area. We had instances where the troopers and the sheriffs were someplace else, and it was going to be 45 minutes before anybody else got here. So we really enjoy the ability to respond quickly and be at emergencies, and not only police emergencies, but they're usually the first ones on the scene for a medical as well. So you want to be able to have somebody there, especially in the case when I get there as a firefighter, there's somebody already doing CPR, and it's 9 times out of 10 one of our officers. So it would take 10 full-time employees plus some part-times to do the 3 shifts. We feel that a chief, an investigator, sergeant for each shift, and a minimum of 2 patrols per shift. Dispatch, 4 full-time plus part-time would give us 24/7, which is, dispatch is essential to the police operations. It's also essential in communication to the community, because that's the first person they talk to when they call somebody and they have a question in town. It's usually dispatch that feels that before the police or anybody else gets involved. A lot of times 911 will call our dispatcher to find out where things are and what things are going on, even though 911 may get the first call. Proactive recruiting policy, we definitely have to be proactive, because again, they're not turning police officers out by the dozens. It's a fairly small pool, and we've got to be really in the mix to be able to recruit appropriately. And then the retention plan, compensation, advancement, training, and wellness. And that's mental and physical wellness. Oversight, in a lot of departments, there is either a police commissioner or an ombudsman, I hate that word, but basically their responsibility is to oversee the policies, any allegations, enhance the public trust, provide input to policy and operational planning, and enforce compliance of the policies. They're a policy person, not an operational person. They want to make sure that everything that's under accreditation is being done. Any issues that pop up, they're there. They're non-political. And that really helps out in the role of making sure that everybody understands what they should be doing.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so as you're going through these are all the goals. And I think what I don't see is where we are today compared to.
We didn't do that.
We did, yeah, we were looking down the road.
So these are the goals.
Right, we
So
were-
so it's a separate exercise to say, here's where we are, how to get here, but these are the goals, this is the vision.
Correct.
Hopefully you all know where we're at.
Well, we do, a little- yeah.
The
Yeah,
way that you would operationalize this is you would now take, this is, we did an imagination. This is where we want to be. This is where we think we need, and these are all the elements that we need. So now you would now lay over where you're at.
Right.
As another operational,
And build a plan.
and then build a plan, say, where do we have gaps? Where don't we have gaps? And where are we doing a good job and where aren't we doing a good job? And that then becomes your operational go forward for getting the police department to where you want to be. Some of the recommendations may not be accepted.
so this is a recommendation based on all of the work that we did,
Mhm.
like it's something that we came to from a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay.
And this person that would be in the middle, we'll call it commissioner for now. They're there to collaborate between the town board and the chief. The board's role is administrative, the chief is operational. And then that person also in many departments around the country monitors for any bias activity. Facilities, accreditation has a standard for the facilities, they have a standard for the vehicles. We need to have a maintenance policy, a vehicle rotation plan. The offices, the accommodations must be for specific situations. Additional requirements. Things have to be specific to law enforcement. They really can't be shared in a lot of different areas. It breaks down the security and the trust that the police department have. Specifically for well-being. The dispatch area needs to be there and there needs to be security and availability, meaning that the security is there and it's available to the police officers to get into secure areas. Technology, here's where the communication comes into play big time. Social media. When you have people that come to town or you have people that are in town, 60% of the people today consume their knowledge either online, through Facebook, through Instagram, through posts that are made for the town of Woodstock, through a website. We really need that. A lot of that does not exist for the police department and would eliminate a lot of the questions that people have when they come to town or even people in town. It also is a way to have outbound communication. That way, things can be done, things can be posted, and the community gets to see what the police are doing, which is as important that it's bi-directional as it is just fielding questions. So the website would be critical. The computers need to be up to speed, and I need to keep mine up to speed. Body cams and dash cams. I know we have body cams now. Sound meters. Electronic legal and policy updates. There are things that when, the one that we've seen and as a tool is Lexipol, and it goes over different requirements and it talks about different things that are going on, but it keeps you up to date with all the different legal and otherwise things. Come on. Community, in the community, and again, we saw that was important from the, from the comments that we had. Bike and foot patrol, people loved it, people like it. It takes some effort to have a bike and foot patrol.
And money.
Well, money, again, this is fantasy world, so money is not an object. Public information officer, and this is something we're doing with the fire department as well. The biggest liability to any town now is the public information that's put out, whether it's through the fire department or through the police. There's certain things that have to be controlled, whether it be pictures or Facebook or whatever it might be. They can put a town, police officers, firefighters, and others, especially first responders, in jeopardy, not only legal jeopardy, but physical jeopardy. And really a public information officer, and we have brought up to be shared between the fire department and the police department, would make sure that everything is succinct and is current and up to date and meets the standards of our public information. A juvenile officer, somebody who's been trained, somebody who works with the juvenile contingent, with youth. you know, be your youth officer, your youth walking officer, a wellness coordinator to make sure that all of the people that are out there serving the community are mentally and physically well. We have one of those wellness coordinators at the fire department. And it actually does a great job in keeping everybody engaged, and it's not something that, you know, that we've had 18 people out of our fire department go to the wellness coordinator with different issues, and it could be family issues, fire issues, or other issues, but personal wellness is critical for our first responders and especially police officers. And then coordination of emergency services, police, ambulance, and fire is what we have here in town. Enhanced training, and these areas, believe it or not, the enhanced training is something that officers crave. And having the enhanced training keeps officers around. So we don't have turnover, somebody can get all these different trainings and feel more productive and feel like they're more incorporated into the community through these additional trainings. I won't go through all of them, but you know, there's list upon list upon list of available trainings to augment and add to the capabilities of the officers. And then this just came out of the whole thing. You know, we all discussed it and we came up with these points. The Woodstock Police Department will adhere to the highest levels of integrity, safety for both the officers and the public, service, transparency, leadership, zero tolerance, and a hybrid policing, which is community policing, incorporating mental health with it. So this is the public input that we had done. And in the appendix, there's links and documents and the research that we did. So at this point, the whole group will answer anything for the board if you have any questions as a result of what we came up here today.
This is our presentation to the board, not to the
That-
public, so we'd like to hear from the board right now.
Thank you. So I would just, my first question, so as I'm hearing it, really the first step that the board needs to take is agree that this is the vision statement that makes sense and adopt that.
I would say that would be step one, and then you do your comparison. Where are we? And where do we want to be? This would be the where do you want to be? The where are we? We took all consideration of where we are, doing historical data and, you know, all the information that we got that was specific to where we are and issues we've had. So in order to handle issues and make sure issues don't come up in the future, that's why we operationalized it and brought this in front of you.
And then I guess hand in hand would be to complete the accreditation.
Accreditation is probably the top thing on the list.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Laura?
yeah, so, well, so I guess a couple things. So one is, you consider, at this point, except for the fact you're asking for feedback, this is a final report.
Correct.
Okay, so your task force will disband because your work is done, and might it be smart, I'm guessing that for everybody, for us to have a task force that does the next step, that says, where are we, and compares it? Because I don't know who you're gonna like throw it at, but it seems like if you had a team of people, Michael is a team of people, unless you're thinking there's one person that can do this comparison.
I think you're gonna have to have a couple of people. You're gonna have to have somebody who understands what we have here. And then you're gonna have somebody who understands like the chief where the department is today.
I think you'd also have to have someone that has the authority to do that, like we're a task force, we don't have that authority,
Right.
you have the authority. So if you want to do another task force, I would think you would have to have somebody with authority to make those changes.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, I mean, just to say, yeah, this is like, yeah, this is kind of your final output, but it just seems that we needed a follow-on team to do the next step, which is where are we and how do we get to where the.
But a task force could sit down and look at that, where we are, where we wanna go, and make recommendations
Correct.
piece by piece to a town board.
That would be
For
the next step, I
implementation.
would think, Laura.
Right, and that would have to be somebody who's got integral knowledge of the police department now.
Right.
I think, one other thing that we might wanna do, is offer guidance to that task force. And discuss as a town board, do we wanna incorporate everything? Do we want to slightly modify some things that are being recommended? So, that would be a
The
recommendation.
prioritize,
to
what are the
the town
priorities?
board.
would help.
Exactly. You know, so we could probably all agree on accreditation and what is that gonna cover, and we start there. Yeah, so, let's agree on what we would like to see moving forward.
Okay, and I did have another comment.
Alright.
So if it were me, the training opportunities, because you say on your staff ranking, what's at the tippy top is what you're gonna do last. It doesn't, it seems to me, if it were me, I'd move training further on down the list. I know it's enhanced training, but because it's so integral to police officers and growth and interest, I wouldn't have put the training as the thing you do last. I
It's
would,
it's not an order, it's more of a weighted.
well,
Yeah,
it's-
so, well, you have to understand that there's, the core training for police officers is under accreditation.
Yeah, there's required
Okay.
training. that
So-
has
It's
to be done.
huge, that is your real base.
This is more enhanced training, if you could take a list, it's endless, it's available to police officers with training. But the idea is to offer to these officers to make them want to stay here, that they have to.
But no, I agree with the enhanced training. It's just that as I heard your explanation, this is like a triangle. And the foundation's at the bottom, so you need your foundation before you move up.
Yeah.
And the training being at the top of the list, it tells me it's the last thing.
Right,
And-
it's-
But that's
Additional.
additional and enhanced.
Right. Well,
Because
So, I mean, I don't think it's critical that somebody learns how to run a drone down at the bottom of the pyramid. Up at the top, that would be
Yeah.
maybe important.
so that's what the enhanced is, you're gonna have your basic, which you have
Which is
police
raw.
officers that everybody has, that they know
Well,
what.
How much of the
have to do.
accreditation is police training? I mean, there's a big portion of it, right, of what required training is?
Well, there's firearms, there's
But-
de-escalation, there's mental health stuff that's annual training, but then there's the extra 20, I mean, accreditation requires 21 hours a year for each officer.
21 per year,
21 hours, 8 hours, usually 8 hours, that is firearms
per year.
per year. You can add various other things. I think the enhanced training that we're in this part, where it's at the top of the pyramid, is, let's say Corey comes in to the chief, and he says, I see this training's available. Up at a risking at the state preparation, I'd like to go to this for fingerprinting maybe, or polygraph stuff. That's the enhanced training, that then the chief has to make an assessment. Is this worthwhile? Is the training worthwhile? Is it something we're gonna benefit from? But there's always required training each year under accreditation.
I hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I would have still put it further down on the list,
I get it.
but you heard me, I heard you, and you're keeping it where it
That's
is.
it.
Hello?
Well, I have a little bit of an inside advantage. What I want to do is recommend to the town board that we in fact discuss which of these we'd like to adopt. I like the idea of a task force, and I want to say thank you to the task force because really folks met every week and really put a lot of their time, effort, energy and lives into it. So a big thank you, really.
Appreciate it, because we all went home with homework. I mean, sometimes you'd spend 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Researching online.
Right.
In order to get and bring it back to us. I mean, I know you were, Bob was on the phone with all the different police agencies, and you know, that's no simple task to get, to
Yeah.
catch up with somebody to have them talk to you. Much less then spend half an hour to an hour on the phone with them. Great.
I got a couple of additional questions. Thanks for recognizing me, Bill. I really am very curious about what do we have now? And I know that's not something that you guys looked at, right?
We looked at what they're doing, and I think the survey reaffirmed. At least what my initial belief was that this is a very responsive police department to this community.
But I actually meant in terms of like numbers and,
So actually, we did look at all the calls, and what we realized was with the, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
One of the recommendations up there was because the way that the calls are reported is not consistent. So that was in one of our recommendations, that the better computer system would allow them to record the calls more accurately.
all right, I'll start again. So I went to this staff recruit retain thing and I thought to myself, do we have 10 full timers? Do they cover on 3 shifts? Do we have a chief? Do we have a plainclothes detective?
So people-
I began to go down this list and think to myself, like, there's some real things here
There's some
that we
gaps.
don't have,
Correct.
right? And I think that people need to know that,
And some of
that's-
them we used to have a plainclothes detective
This is-
we had.
which is what we don't have now. And that's why I think that you guys do have, can you just give us what you do know about what we do have? I mean, that would be great because
It would have been great if that was what we were asked to do. We took what we do have, and then we built on that as to what we need to what we need to have. The next step is to then go and see what we have, and you overlay the two.
and
You can't start with the history and then have a plan.
No, I'm not asking for you to start with either of those, I'm asking you to do them at the same time, but since you've already done this. I mean, I wanna know what we have now, I mean, obviously, if we don't have a, if we don't have a plain.
No,
If
we have your.
if we don't have a, if we don't have a plainclothes detective,
Oh,
what is,
yeah.
what is the cost of that?
Your
Right.
town board member.
If we don't have, if we don't have the right accreditation, you know, what is holding it up? What I'm interested in is like, all of these things sound great. How much does it cost?
Yes.
Let's do them all, like, but let's just start. Which ones do we need first? I mean, what's,
Recommendations.
It's a recommendation.
which one of these things should we do first? Should we, a detective?
We aren't in a position to decide that. We gave you what we think you should have. You folks sitting up here are the ones that have to decide. We have no power. We cannot tell you what you need to have. You have to decide what you wanna have.
And a lot of this comes down to. I agree with you, everything on the wish list would be wonderful.
Correct.
It's a matter of how much will it cost and what are we willing, what is the public
Right.
willing to pay?
The cost worth versus what the
The
value
pay
is.
Yeah,
And you know what? Sometimes value is is worth much more than the cost.
absolutely.
So that's what you have to weigh in.
But I thought that I heard agreement that the next step is to see what we have, overlay the two, and then decide if we wanna go further with the things or not go further with things. That wasn't the task.
So I would suggest that at our next meeting, Chief, I will ask you to prepare, to review this. And to come to the board with what our present police force looks like and fill the board in on that,
Absolutely.
okay?
And you're talking about a detective, we never had a plainclothes detective.
No,
Okay.
we always
But
had- we
we
did it.
don't, we don't need to get into
Okay.
the nuts and bolts tonight, but to prepare a statement, a review of what we have. The other thing that I think is really important is we've spent a lot of time on preparing for accreditation, so I think maybe at our next meeting, you can give us an update on where we are with that and what it's gonna take to get us over the finish line.
Just like, you did spend hundreds of hours.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that.
Department policies, you know,
Yeah.
and that was the three administrations, you know, candidate, you know, and I went from the front page to the back page and added your policies, you know, modified things, so, you know,
Okay.
it was a monumental job.
So if you could just give us an update at our next meeting, we're not taking questions from the public right now.
3 weeks.
And so what we have now, and you could also take a look at the wish list and give us an idea of what this is gonna cost us. Okay,
Can I just say one thing's being a member, first of all, I wanna thank this task force very much, and everybody here, thank you very much. All this information is going to be up on the website either Wednesday or Thursday, Melanie's gonna post it, that we're not taking any questions regarding this task force.
When these are people get to ask questions, it doesn't necessarily.
You're gonna, afterwards, you're gonna ask the board, this task force is ending tonight. So questions to us are over, we've given our opinion, we've given our overview, we kind of schooled ourselves on what we thought the police department should, where the direction it should go. At this point, your questions are gonna be to the town board.
What really needs to happen is the town board and the police department, police chief need to sit down and figure out, since they have the authority, what is the next step?
so
Right.
my recommendation, what I'm gonna do is that because we're gonna have a meeting next Friday for the budget. And we usually skip the first meeting in October. I will keep that on the calendar and we will devote that solely to a meeting with the chief. And the department to review this with him, and then we'll take answers from the public if that's.
Beautiful.
But I was responded to by the task force, and
Are we?
So-
I had
Hold
follow-up
hold
questions.
on,
Are we done with
That I
this?
responded to,
Hold
like,
on.
is mine still
Maria
ongoing?
Elena.
You're saying you're done.
You,
I just look forward to
You're
finding out where
you're
we
saying
are.
you're done.
Yeah.
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 Had follow-up
Sarah.
questions working. That would.
Sarah.
Jackie.
You can answer.
do you have the announcement for the public? here?
Yes, at a meeting held on September 9th, the town board resolved, Sarah,
It was a good question.
at a meeting held,
Please don't interrupt, Sarah.
at a meeting held on September 9th, the town board resolved to hold a public hearing on the bear ordinance, all persons will now be heard.
Anybody want to talk about bears and garbage? Elena?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Question about bears.
So on our road, on Broadview, there's a lot of people that walk there, there's kids, babies, baby carriages. Old people. People that have disability, you know, it's just a really well walked tapped road. And we have a few short-term rentals that are not abiding by current law. But I've taken specifically with one of them multiple pictures for the last couple of years of just piles and piles of garbage. That they don't have their containers. I also live in an apartment complex, as you know, and we have to have that, and they came and changed one as an example. And now we have this, because it was plastic, even though it had a bar and a lock, the bear went through it, like plowed through and opened up, so it's just stronger than the plastic top. Anyway, and pulled out and became now, showed the cubs, and so now they're constantly coming, and it's just this forever problem and fear, and I've got people that are older, they just are afraid to go walking now. It's a problem, and I'm
So
just
you're
hoping that-
supporting this,
I'm supporting, yes, I'm supporting bear you know, like bear enforcement and awareness to teach people, because I went to the one event.
you should report to the building department, the STRs.
I did say something to them and nothing went further.
Send an email and copy and deal.
Okay, I'll copy you in the whole word.
And that's something that we aim to address with this legislation. The calls could go into the police department and or the building department moving forward once this law is enacted.
I just
And
hope
the fines are gonna be pretty stiff,
good.
so there's the opportunity for the first one to be waived as a warning. But from there it goes from $100 and it actually goes up to about 1,000. So we wanna stop that because that is how those bears will be killed.
Right, and my biggest thing is that there's a ton of laws and they're just not being enforced nationally and locally.
So I would ask that you also, you keep the whole town board copied. I am on the Bear Task Force. And we can help to facilitate working with the departments, whether police or building, to make sure that in fact we are enforcing. I think that's an excellent point.
Thank you.
Just call the local police.
I don't call it national police though.
What's that? Well, don't call the state.
I just.
But Irina, so as far as the verbiage of the law, which I think you want to see changing the verbiage, or you're cutting the verbiage of the law?
If we're good for now.
Anyone else have any questions, comments, thoughts?
Yes.
So it'll be the police department and the building department for enforcing.
And door, yes.
Yes.
This is zoning. It's a zoning.
I'm sorry, could you just, your name for the record?
Jess Lund. And
Jess.
Yes.
I
Jess.
you
and D.
no D.
Okay.
No D.
I'm sorry.
LULD.
Okay.
No,
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 it's
no.
It's
Yeah, put it out.
So, okay, and will there be recommendations, like for instance, what Irina's talking about, like. They should have an all metal locking dumpster, you know, that's sort of like the only thing that works. Will there be recommendations going out?
You know, we have a Bear Task Force, a Facebook page. And what we probably can do, and we've got some Bear Task Force members, Rachel and Iris and Melanie as well here. We were active and we can pick that up again. And provide those recommendations or links to them. So there are ways to strap your garbage cans.
Oh, yeah,
Some of them, you know,
yeah,
I mean, it's hard because they're $400
Right.
plus, so
Right.
financially, not everybody could do it.
and they don't always, I mean, the bear proof cans on 100%.
Yeah,
Really, I knew
Right.
Missy Runyon, who used to be, before she passed, was, you know, friends of the feathered and furry rehabilitator, and she said, really. The only thing you can do is a locking all metal dumpster. If it's, like, that's the only bear proof thing.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So like, if you don't, wanna go to the dump, if you don't wanna put your garbage out. When it's, picked up, you need to have it all metal, that's totally.
Well, we might try to recruit you to help with the Facebook page if you're
Yeah.
open to that. Okay.
How did the garbage companies get into a fully locked garbage container?
I can say that they do not complain, knock on wood.
No,
so-
but how did they get in?
They get out and they unlock
Yeah, they
it.
figure it out. They actually figure out how to open up the.
Yeah, if you have a lot,
No, not the bear proof, what she's talking about is a fully locked.
yeah, you have an arrangement with the hauler.
Yeah, like.
Oh, okay,
Those county
okay.
waste.
Okay.
Yeah, and they
Okay.
just, they get out of their truck and, like, I
Yeah.
have one, they just open it and they don't complain about it at all. They
Alan
just-
Weber?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask if this last election companies have been involved in this process.
We looked into that a long time ago and it was kind of a no-go. So it's up to citizens, residents. It'd be nice to in the future do some type of a town-wide event where maybe we can work with one of the local businesses to reduce the cost
Yeah,
of the bear can. So, we could always look at something like that moving forward.
It's possible to send out like a mailer, because there's a lot of people that are not from here, not paying attention, and they're not going to these.
The
Melody, I put up the STR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bear Task Force has a budget of 0. It would be nice to do a mailer. Right now, we do educational outreach programs. They've been successful. We've had a kids art contest. And we aim to ramp those things up. But we do depend on people, like people here to help.
Plus the
Until
press.
and unless we get, the press, right?
Who are they?
I have a member or two
One or
here.
two.
But right now, there's not a budget for mailers.
Sarah?
Yeah, just signage in general, we're talking about mailings.
Yeah.
But it would be so much more cost effective overall in the future, if we have that great signage, like a central post where we could just talk about how wonderful our town is and keeping it that way and everything, everyone comes to visit.
Yeah.
I've had people unconvinced that they shouldn't just pet that bear
Yeah.
or feed the deer.
We also have, you'll see on the town clerk's office, from the kids contest. A Don't Feed the Bear poster. If you have ideas on where else in town we have those posters, we still have about 40 of them left over. The Rotary donated the funds so that we could print those. So we still have some of those left over and we'd be happy to distribute them and post them.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about the law?
We compliment the task force.
Yeah, good job.
So thank you, task.
Oh, website, let's make it more, there was so much.
No.
Good God.
We recess the public hearing to the call of the chair. Anula, if you want to work on a secret document, we'll get that underway and move forward with adopt it. I'm gonna move on to some resolutions. Be it resolved to accept minutes of meetings held on August 12th, August 19th, and September 9th.
Second.
All in favor?
I'd like to send it out with changes.
Send them to me, that would be great.
All in favor?
Jackie, did you get the changes that I sent from the previous town?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Be it resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor? Be it resolved to authorize payment of vouchers in the amount of $600,606.08.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to accept the resignation of P. Linda Mancuso as deputy town clerk effective Thursday, September 11, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we thank her for service?
Sure, we'll thank you for her service.
I think she worked like 2 days, well, thank her for that.
Yes.
Oh, this speaking meeting.
Be it resolved to authorize transfers for the transfer sheet.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to authorize supervisor to sign the agreement with Walter A. McDermott Telephone Auditing Services.
Second.
Just,
Sure.
I was really concerned about this. Is the town going to turn over the telephone records to, and
They're just looking at our bills, which is public information.
they're just looking at billing? I thought that they would be looking at telephone numbers that we would also be calling because of that bill.
No. They're just looking, because we don't, it's not like the old days when you paid for for falls or whatnot.
So what are they looking at?
They're looking at the possibility that we can overbuild for different lines.
They're probably looking for business.
And they, anything they find on the bills, the agreement is we split with them 50%.
Can we table this off, because I want to learn more
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
I'm
So I did send you guys, I'm happy to table it, I did send you 2 emails. So I would ask that you follow up with the company and have a conversation.
Yeah,
If you need the email. you need to-
I did read it and frankly, it does sound like we're gonna be providing them with records. I'm really not comfortable
Okay.
providing. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
we'll table it, you talk to them.
That's a question. So you're concerned about the security, given that we're sharing personal information by sharing records, Bennett? Or you're?
Oh, that would be one thing. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't know Walter A. McDermott.
We wouldn't be giving them anything that's not for the law.
Well, do we have so many numbers, we can't just look at it ourselves? I mean, if we're all.
I don't have it. But they can look through and see,
But I mean, how many so we have.
do me a favor. I sent you the emails, I sent you, they gave references and communities they've helped. Reach out and talk to them, because they can better answer it than I can.
Well, except for the fact that my question is, how many telephone numbers do we actually have? We have what, 40-some, 50-some employees, but they don't all have phones because.
But there are a number of cell
We have
phones.
100 employees, close to 100.
Yeah,
Close to 100.
and there's a bunch of phone lines up here, there's a bunch down at the police department.
But is this counting their cell phones or is this just counting landlines?
There are a number of cell phones that we provide. So it would
So this
count
would cover
some,
cell phones we provide as well as
yes. The
land.
chief cell phone is in there, so we'll table it, take a look at it and get back to me if we wanna move forward. Whereas the town board wishes to amend the Woodstock zoning law to regulate fences. And whereas the Woodstock Town Board submitted to the Woodstock Planning Board, and the Ulster County Planning Board is zoning. As the zoning amendments for fences, and whereas the town supervisor completed a short environmental assessment form, actually with the help of council person, Ricky. And whereas the Woodstock Town Board held a public hearing on August 12th, 2025. Where public comment was taken, now therefore be resolved. That Woodstock Town Board, 1, close the public hearing, 2, declare that proposed action. Will not have a significant negative impact on the environment. 3, adopts local law number 2 of 2025 zoning amendments for fences. Be it further resolved to request the town clerk file local law number 2 of 2025. That the state forward negative declaration to Ulster County Planning Board, the Woodstock Environmental Commission, and post it on the environmental notice board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yeah, then thank you, zoning revision committees.
Public be heard?
I have 2 people, Dave Kip,
Yes. Fast.
Fanny
Fanny.
Croissant.
I wanted to, just, before we go into that real fast, I believe that we had a court clerk resign, Linda, some weeks ago. And I don't know that we ever thanked her for her service.
You did, we had the resolution,
Okay.
I can show
I
it
just
to you.
want, all right, thank you. One other thing that I wanna make note of is that, I have terrible eyesight and we had another member of the, Bear Task Force here, Keisha, from the Land Conservancy was here, so I'd like to put that on the record.
Danny, you got your 3 minutes.
3 minutes, wow. 1 minute more than usual.
No, we've been 3 minutes.
Okay.
for a while.
So. It's still the flags, which I don't understand why still we have the American flag being there destroyed. And like I saw already some of the flags falling down. And the dogs that walk around, but they feel on the post that the flags are there. I think it's very disrespectful to the American flag.
I'll let you.
I think here, everybody stands up and respects the flag. When it's outside, nobody even really cares about it.
Oh, I think they do, look at Kingston,
No.
all their flags out, Fanny.
Well, I am not in Kingston, I am in Woodstock.
And
I am in Woodstock, I don't want to talk about it.
I'm a member of the American Legion, and I have to tell you.
Okay, the American Legion, let's put the flag in the American Legion, but you don't have to force it into
You don't like to
everybody.
look at it, is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think it should be there, it's disrespectful to the flag.
Well, I don't.
You know,
It's
yes.
disrespectful, but I'm not gonna get into the argument.
Independence Day, I come from Peru, And in Peru, when it's Independence Day, everybody has the flag in their house, outside, everything. The Independence Day goes away, everybody takes the flag away.
Yes.
Otherwise it's disrespectful to the flag, basically. Okay. The other thing is the TV station. A couple of times I have gone there, I go almost there every day. And suddenly the TV, the TV station is off. So I have to put it on, because it goes on by itself. So there has to be somebody that has to be there all the time, to really check when it goes off or it's not done.
You mean the television is on and you go there and you find it off?
Yeah, suddenly it goes off by itself. Now, before it was because there was a storm or something like that. Now, it doesn't need anything. It goes off.
I'll look into that because it's interesting. This computer should be left on all the time.
The computer station is on all the time.
Yeah, but this computer right here, and the last 2 or 3 meetings that come in and it's been off. Now, maybe somebody's shutting it off, but maybe it's power service or something. I'll take a look at that.
I don't know, because it goes
I
on
don't
by
either.
itself, and I think, you should pay Ellen something because she's there,
Okay.
I mean, you have people, that they're serving the youth center, I think the people have to be paid.
Okay.
We have been volunteers already for a long time to keep the, the TV station running,
Okay.
I think this is really ridiculous, I think you should have here what it was before, somebody. I was watching this, and when the people were the first time, they were talking about the police. She put the thing about the police, and then it stayed there for I don't know how long. And so people were talking, discussing everything, and it wasn't there. It was only, the thing. So I thought that was really disrespectful to the people that are watching. Because the people that are watching it want to know how the people
Okay.
behaving here.
Okay.
So I think it should be you have to be more respectful for the people.
You got it, David.
Yeah, and then, we have to have somebody to record the meeting.
Yeah.
To have it on the TV station, so that they can watch it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I not